fantastic. Our final guest today on the LA Times stage is an American actress noted for her roles as Captain Catherine Janeway, yes, on Star Trek Voyager, Mary Ryan on Orion's Hope, of course, and most recently as Galina Red Reznikoff on Orange is the New Black. Amazing. She is the winner of a Golden Satellite Award, a Saturn Award, an Obie Award, is nominated for a Golden Globe and an Emmy. Her new memoir is Born with Teeth, and she's being interviewed today by Tracy Brown from the LA Times. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Tracy Brown and Kate Mulgrew.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Hi, everybody. So nice to see you here. Allegedly, I've written a book. And you're going to ask me some questions about it, Tracy?
I am going to ask you some questions. Why a memoir now? Like, what was the catalyst to deciding now that you wanted to write about your life?
Both of my parents had died. That was key, because I loved them deeply. And if you read the book, you will see that my relationship with my mother was not only pivotal, but absolutely defining. I'm one of 8 children. I'm the oldest daughter. I was wanted, and I was needed, and I was loved by her in an extraordinary and singular way. So I am an arrow shot out of my mother's bow. And that is true. I'm going to read you a little bit, just a quick one, all right? From a later chapter. Actresses. What a bunch of sad saps we are, I thought. Madly in love with the child, madly in love with the craft, trying desperately to forge an alliance between the two and constantly failing. If I were a man, I said to myself, none of this would be in question. My children would respect me, my wife would honor me, and everyone would exalt the work. But turn the knife just slightly to the left, and what you have is a harried woman sneaking out before dawn, cracking the whip for 16 hours on a soundstage, creeping back home under cover of night, forever explaining, forever apologizing, forever in conflict. Picasso wasn't in conflict. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. He said, "Scram, I need to work." And his mistresses and their spawn ran for the hills. Dickens wasn't in conflict. He had 10 children and wrote as many novels in almost as many years because it was both understood and appreciated that he was gifted, famous, and rich. The male artist has always been respected. For the actress, there is no resolution. Read the life of Eleanor Duse. Read the life of Sarah Bernhardt. Conflict and toil, occasionally leavened by illicit romance. Duse, arguably the greatest actress who ever lived, sent her only daughter to a convent so as not to expose her to the tawdry perils of life in the theater. Shortly after giving birth to an illegitimate son, Maurice, Bernhardt resumed her lucrative career as a courtesan. It wasn't until she clawed her way back to her rightful place on the stage that she bought the famous coffin in which she was photographed, eyes closed. Maurice must have had mixed feelings about nap time. I played Captain Janeway in an era that had not resolved the conflicts surrounding mothers and work. The major studios were still struggling to present their actresses as superwomen. No one wanted to hear about the difficulties of raising children. Not really. It was only acceptable to talk about rising above these difficulties and managing to do everything well, to contribute to the great myth. Women are master multitaskers who fly through space spouting technobabble at warp 9.9, who then beam themselves home in time for dinner, prepared by hand on a 4-burner Viking stove, tuck their tired but happy children into their lavender-scented beds, learn 10 pages of dialogue to perfection while soaking luxuriously in a bubble bath, and finally, reluctantly, turning out the light because, by God, she still has energy to burn. I sighed and got up from the chair. I dropped a light kiss on Ian's brow, and then, as an afterthought, gently stroked his hair. Such beautiful hair, Such a beautiful boy. I turned out the hall light and looked in on Alec before I headed upstairs, the hand outstretched, relaxed, beckoning. I tiptoed to his bedside, knelt down, and kissed those fingertips one by one. He didn't stir. Then I climbed the stairs to my bedroom, where I would forego a bath, run a toothbrush across my teeth, remove my fancy premiere makeup, force myself to study my pages for tomorrow's work, set the alarm for a 3:45 a.m. wake-up, and switch off the lamp. Multitasking indeed.
Thank you.
Here you are, madam. I will.
Thank you. That was a treat. And I think one of the themes that you hit in that passage is how women, when you were portraying Catherine Janeway, it was an era where you just focused just on work, and there wasn't a variety of female characters as much as it is now. Like, how is it to see the evolution of the industry where there are more and more characters?
Oh, are you kidding? It's absolutely joyful. I'm in the vanguard in a thing called Orange is the New Black, created by the genius Genji Cohen. There are 50 women on this series. It's a new day. It's the golden age of television, and I feel like it's the Wild West of television. And I felt that the moment I got that little piece of paper that said, Galina Red-Reznikov, wholly assimilated into the American culture, is Russian by birth. We want a mere suggestion, but what came out of my mouth was this fully fledged Russian peasant. And I knew from that moment that this was going to be a wonderful marriage. Netflix is they're breaking the ceiling. They're breaking down the door of the boys' club. It's a new model. It's a new brand. It's a new day. And I'm a part of it. So it's thrilling.
Thank you.
But it wasn't bad to be a part of Star Trek Voyager, you guys. I was the first and only, let's emphasize that only, shall we, female commander of a starship. And whereas indeed it was still very much a boys' club, it was a celebrated moment and a moment that made television history. I was very, very, very proud to play that role and to survive those 7 years with my dignity and integrity intact. I loved her. I loved Catherine Janeway. And I'm very, very glad that I played her. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. One of the passages I really enjoyed in the scene in your book came very early. It was the poetry contest. Can you set the scene and let everyone know about the poetry contest?
When I was 12, I thought I was going to be a great poet. I went to a Catholic grammar school called Resurrection, which is disturbing enough in itself, right? Nestled in the cornfields, the infinite cornfields of Iowa. But I was, I was going to be the next Edna St. Vincent Millay in my own mind. So at 12, I went to Sister Benedict and I pleaded to be a part of the recital, the annual poetry recital, and she said, yes, of course, Katie Mulgrew. I think your poetry is excellent. Please come and invite your mother. I've seen your mother at Mass. She's a very interesting person, isn't she? What she means is my mother would attend Mass, take out her thermos of coffee, and read the Ethics of Spinoza. So Sister Benedict watched this. On the day of the poetry contest, or the night before, I should say, my mother said to me, Kitten Cat, I think it's great that you're going to read some of your own poems, but I have another idea for you. Come with me. And we went upstairs to her bedroom, and she gave me a slim volume entitled The White Cliffs by Alice Duer Miller, which is a poem about 50 pages long about an American girl who travels to England on the eve of World War I and falls in love with an English aristocrat. And she said to me, my dear mother, now here's what I think you should do, darling. When you finish reading your original poems, don't give them time to think or blink. Just sail right into this and see what happens. I said, but mother, it's not my poem. She said, that's beside the point. Read it. So the day came. I read my poems. Absolutely no reaction. It was a sea of everyone was in a coma in that room, right? 50 kids flopping over, the nuns sort of looking despairingly at me. So I pulled it out of my pocket, I read it, The White Cliffs, and when I had finished, I looked down, and there were 15 sisters of the Presentation Order sobbing. and something in me just took wing. I looked in the back, I saw my mother in her traditional little kerchief and her red sweater. We got in the car, we drove home in silence, which was very unsettling because it did not bode well that she said nothing to me. Just as we approached the house, she stopped the car, turned the ignition off, turned to face me, and said, "Kitten Cat, I watched you very closely today, and I have only one thing to say to you. You can either be a mediocre poet or a great actress. Now, which do you think you'd rather be?" And that was it. Not that I was a great actress, but that was the beginning of the arrow out of her bow.
How did you overcome that kind not so positive reaction to your writing to be able to come around and decide, no, but I'm still going to write an entire book?
Well, I was 12.
Yeah.
We do get over these things. But I think I maybe did put it away in some vault, in some secret vault of longing. I think I maybe always hoped to write. But in a family of my size, you were delegated your role. I was going to be the actor. My brother Tom was going to be the writer. That was it. That was it. It was not up for discussion. So many, many years elapsed, and I watched my brother and my sister Jenny, who also aspired to writing, and they did not write. So out of courtesy and out of love, I let one decade unfold into another, and finally, when Mother and Dad died, I just thought, I can't wait any longer. The story is vividly written in my mind, in my imagination, scored on my heart. And at the age of 58, I met a literary agent who said to me, "Send me 50 pages, anything you want, strictly entre nous, our secret." I sent him the pages, and within a day or two, he called and asked to represent me. And the rest, as they say, is a little bit of history. I found Little Brown and a wonderful publisher there, Regan Arthur. Where are you, Regan? Hold your hand up, wherever she is. There she is over there. And that has made all the difference, too. A superb team and a great, great house.
Would you consider writing more?
I'd love to write more. I'd love to write more. Hi, Regan. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I need to adjust this so I'm not.
Just
sorry.
put it closer to your...
Yes.
You can go very close.
Yeah. So we find out as your memoir unfolds that there are many moments you take a lot of risks. Like you just leave and you hit New York to pursue your acting career. But I was mostly interested, not mostly, but you're part of the Stella Adler School of Acting, and then we find out you left a little early to take on this television role.
Yeah.
Were you ever worried that it wouldn't pan out?
Are you kidding? Every actor feels that way. And of course, Stella Adler was formidable, imposing. She was a queen. She was everything to me. I mean, she taught me what to this day has saved me. She taught me the meaning of epic, how to lift yourself up, how to exalt the work. And she said to me, "The only thing I ask of you, Katie Mulgrew, is to get out of Dubuque, Iowa as soon as you can as an actress in your soul, and do not leave this conservatory until you have completed the program." But at the age of 19, I was offered the role of Mary Ryan on a soap opera called Ryan's Hope, and simultaneously Emily Webb in Our Town at the American Shakespeare Theater. And I felt that I could not say no. Foremost among these reasons was that I was completely broke. So I approached Stella, and I must say I was really shaking in my boots. I didn't want to disappoint her, and I knew that I had to. And I said, "Stella, I've been offered these parts, and may God have mercy on my soul. I'm going to take them. May I please have your blessing?" She just pulled herself up to her full height, stared at me with those wolf's eyes, and said, "Yes, of course. You're going to do what you want to do, darling, aren't you? But I can promise you one thing. Only the work will lift you up. Only the work will lift you up. And I fear that you will go skating into Hollywood. Promise me you won't go skating into Hollywood." I said, "I will never go skating into Hollywood." And of course, the next year, I was in Hollywood skating.
How do you your career spans like television roles, theater roles. How did you balance the TV and the acting? I'm sorry, the theater acting. It was all acting, but
It's all acting. How
it's
do
all
I
acting.
balance what?
Yeah. Your desire to do both.
Acting is acting.
Was there
It's
one
the
you
same
prefer?
thing. No, I mean, I studied for the theater, and I was grounded in the theater, and I'm very glad. That has stood me in good stead. But I love them all. I mean, I wouldn't change where I am right now, playing Red, for any role or any other medium. It's absolute heaven. This is bliss. It's as good as it gets. Certainly at my age. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. She's something great, isn't she? I see you've got that T-shirt. Yeah.
Right. And obviously, one of the underlying themes throughout your memoir is your relationship with your family. How hard was it to balance your family life with such an active acting professional life?
Well, I just read that excerpt.
Yep.
It was inexpressibly difficult. And any actress who tells me that it's easy is lying. It's almost impossible. So there was only one thing I could do. I had to make a contract with myself. Because you do. You adore your children. And you do. You adore your work. And you're hoping against hope that your adoration of your work will inform your children. And maybe they will see, that their mother loves what she does and they will respect her for it. Wrong. Wrong. Little boys want their mother at home. That's what they want. And they very much resent it when they wake up and the mother is not there, and they go to bed at night and the mother is not there. And then the mother takes all of this in, and it's just a constant churning. So I made up my mind early on in the run of Star Trek Voyager, because there's only one thing to do. Men do it beautifully. I'm looking at all you men. It's compartmentalization. So I decided when I was at work doing Voyager, I was going to be 150% present to Voyager, to Captain Janeway. When I was at home, I was going to be absolutely present to my children. And that's the only way I did it. But I think that it is nothing but conflict for women. Still, that's the thing that has to change. That's the thing that has to change. And slowly it is.
Both Captain Janeway and Red are part of like large ensemble families. Is there something about that that attracts you to these roles with like the larger, separate professional families from your personal families?
Is there something about it? Do I find it attractive to be a part of big
ensembles versus
big ensembles?
smaller casts?
You take what you can get, baby. I think Orange is the New Black wouldn't be Orange is the New Black were it not for the ensemble. It's the ensemble that supports it so beautifully, right? 40 stripped down, perfectly authentic representations of women, right? In prison. We're all a banana peel away from that big slip, baby, right? And you get to watch that. Voyager was different. I had a complement of 165. I was supposed to take them on a journey. We were supposed to get back. I missed the gas station, and we ended up in the Delta Quadrant. So yes, I guess I like to be around big groups of people, responsible for them.
So we also find out in your memoir that early on in your career you had a daughter that you had to give up for adoption. Do you think it would be possible now, in society now with the way celebrity culture is, to be able to have like a secreted away experience where people don't know about it?
Do I think it would be possible now for a young woman to have a baby
Where
and
people
hide
don't-
it?
Yeah. Or
I think
actresses.
Or what?
Actresses specifically, where the public is first to know to speculate about
I
pregnancy.
don't know if that's the real question you want to ask. I think the real question you want to ask is, how do I feel about that, right?
I do want to ask that too.
Yeah. I think women who get pregnant unexpectedly are in an absolutely ghastly situation. They're so completely vulnerable, any way you look at it, right? And those who make the choice to have the baby have to further address the cost. And it's a huge price. Do I think women are giving up their children for adoption as commonly as they once did? I don't know. I doubt it. But there are always those who will choose to do that, who will sort of recognize that they're not ready to be a mother, that they will not be. Their love, their fortitude will not be sufficient enough to take care of this little baby. So those choices will always be made. But is that archaic Catholic Church thing changing? Yes, thank God. Of course it is.
How much of your role as a mother was affected with how your relationship with your mother?
How was my own motherhood affected
Yes.
by? Well, I became my own mother's mother. At 14, she asked me to come into the kitchen and have a cup of coffee, which we often did. But this time she said, you know, I study you, and I need to share something with you, kitty cat. I never had my own mother, and she didn't. Her own mother died in childbirth. And she said, you know, it's a gaping hole. I can't seem to fill it. Therefore, I can't seem to realize who I am. And I'm always reaching for it, always searching for who I am. Now, I've studied you carefully since you've been born. And whereas I don't think anybody would think of you as a normal daughter, I think you would make a perfectly splendid mother. So would you be my mother? And then the phone rang. It was God calling to save me. The phone did ring, but I did say, yes, of course, I'll be your mother. And I was her mother. This is not a good thing to be when you become a mother, right? I tried, but I think I approached my children probably a little bit as she approached me. You can't help that, you know? I did the best I could. Tracy seems to. Yes, yes. Are we taking questions now?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I'll have a microphone here. Okay, terrific. There's one up front. We'll start right up here so I don't have to. I'm out of breath already.
Excuse me? Hi, Miss Mulgrew.
Hi.
I remember seeing you do a Shakespeare reading with the cast of Voyager for charity 20 years ago, and I said to you afterwards, I said, I could listen to you read the phone book.
Aw,
And listening to you read from your book today, it's still true.
what a lovely thing to
Thanks.
say. Thank you very much. Compliments are just as good as questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, a couple up here. Hold on, let me get this. Okay, right in the center
He's
here.
leaving the premises.
I'll see you guys
He's
later.
leaving.
I'm exhausted.
Hi.
Hi.
Really nervous and super excited. But I was wondering, do you recommend any kind of acting, told you I was nervous, any acting schools out here in Los Angeles, or would you ever consider teaching yourself?
I have taught. I have
Why
taught.
did I miss that?
I've taught in New York at Fordham University. I'm not really a very good teacher. I'm much too tough. I really am tough because I had to go it alone, and I went into the world so young. I was 17. Professional at 19, you develop a certain vernacular that is not necessarily good for students. I really think that you have to go into this profession with a great, great, great deal of self-examination. And if you are not wildly, and I mean wildly passionate, committed to this craft, and if you do not have the discipline to support it, do not go into it. You will be disappointed. Do not. Are you looking at me? Yes. She's looking at me and she's going, oh, why did I ask her that question? But if you have those things, sweetheart, go. Go. And be, and go with abandon. Out here, I don't know what there is in LA. I don't. My real advice would be if you want to study acting, go to New York. That's where the real teachers are there. Yeah.
Question to your right.
Hi, I've been a fan of Voyager since I was 3 years old.
I guess so. You're 6 now, huh?
I'm actually 18, but
You look very young.
thank you. I was wondering if you had any expectations, like going into the role of Voyager, like what it would be like to be on the show, and if it was different than what you expected?
It was completely different than what I expected, but I was shot out of a cannon and it saved me. I was completely ignorant of Star Trek. I really didn't know anything about it. A few years before I got the part, I was at a wedding reception and somebody said, "Oh, Patrick Stewart is here. You have to meet him." I said, "Who is he?" He said, "It's the captain. He's the captain of the Enterprise." I said, "The captain of the What's that?" "Star Trek." I said, "Oh, is that where they're in space with capes?" I mean, I really knew nothing. And then, of course, Geneviève Bujold originally won the role. It wasn't me. It was that gorgeous French-Canadian actress, Geneviève Bujold. She lasted 24 hours. You know, she's French and she's smart. "I don't think I want to do this at all." Then they called back in about 3 of us, 4 of us, and it was to network. There were 50 men in that room, all brass, and it was one of those knockout things. And I just felt great. I felt completely confident. I loved her. I loved her on the page. She jumped off the page right into my mind, into my imagination. I remember looking at Rick Berman and sort of I didn't know who he was, and sort of winking at him and sort of flirting with him and thinking, this is going to be great. And he gave me this glowering look like, "You better understand what this is, baby. This is Star Trek." All right, so I went home and I thought, well, we'll wait. Nothing. Nothing. 3 days elapsed. I thought I didn't get the part. I was devastated, and I do what I always do. I give it about 3 hours, sometimes 4. I am miserable. I pout. I jump in the pool. I swim 50, 60 laps, and then I got out and I said to the boys, "That's it. I didn't get the part. I'm going to the market. We're going to put steaks on the grill. We're going to get on with our lives." I went to the market, and when I got back, my sons and their nanny were standing on the front porch. "Get out of the car! Get out of the car!" And my son Ian, "Mother, get out of that car immediately." He was 8. "And listen to your messages on the machine," which I didn't do. In I went, pressed the button. "Miss Mulgrew, Mrs. Rick Berman. I'm the executive producer of Star Trek Voyager, and I just wanted to say, welcome aboard, Captain." Oh! I said, "On your knees." Of course, we're not practicing Catholics. "On your knees, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Get the champagne, let's get going." And that was it. It was great. It was great. It was good that I didn't know what to expect, darling, because I would have been a nervous wreck. When they handed me that technobabble, I said, "Surely you're joking. You want me to learn Japanese and speak it fluently in 24 hours?" And that's what it was like for the entire first season, not to mention the constant thing with the hair, the steel bun, my bosom, my thing, my feet, my I mean, it was constant about my being a woman. And finally, at the end of the first season, I said to the writers and producers, "Why don't you let the men make up their own minds?" All right? Because they're so worried about the demographic from 15 to 35. I said, "I understand I'm of childbearing years. I understand that that could be a problem. But why make it a bigger problem with the constant attention to my physicality? Let me command the ship and let them be the judge." And once they left me alone, they came. Those boys came. Love those boys. Yeah. So it was good.
Question down front.
Hi, my name's Brittany.
Hi,
I'm a
Brittany.
huge fan of yours.
Thank
and
you,
it's
sweetie.
such a treat to be able to come here and listen to you speak. One question is, if you could give a piece of advice to a college student entering the workforce, what would you say? Or something you wish you would have known?
Are you listening to me? You're not going to like it.
Okay.
You're going to die. You are going to die, Brittany, with your beautiful hair and that
Thank you.
magnificent smile
Thank you.
and your shining eyes. So you have nothing to lose but to live beautifully and excellently. All right?
Thank you so much.
Just do it. And do it all the way. All right?
Okay.
Die. We're all going to die.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Question on your right.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and
Can I
just,
see you?
Hello.
Oh, hi, Lauren. There you are. Yeah.
Hi, and I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank you for teaching me how to use my strong voice.
Oh, good. It's a very nice voice.
Oh, thanks.
You're scaring me a little bit. Okay.
Question
Yes?
over here to your left.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
I've been watching you since engineering school. Every Wednesday on UPN, watching Captain Janeway and inviting all my friends for free pizza because they love it too. And thanks to you, you've inspired me to go through engineering school, take grad school in space propulsion, and now I'm an aerospace engineer. So I think you didn't just only inspire me, probably many young women who wants to be in the sciences and who wants to be independent and show the guys that we can do it too. So my question, I have two questions. One is, do you miss being Janeway? And second is, who do you like to play better, Red or Captain Janeway?
Oh, tough one. Tough. I do miss her. I do miss her. She was pretty splendid, Janeway, wasn't she? No finer creature really existed, right? A brilliant scientist, a great commander, full of humanity, laughter. She loved deeply. I loved that. But Red now, you see. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of weeks. Who else could come to me more textured, more complex, richer than Red Reznikov, who has the same kind of backbone as Janeway, the same kind of metal. It's just a different trip. But we both want greatness. I want it in the kitchen, and Janeway wanted it in the Delta Quadrant. Thank you for your question. And congratulations to you. I mean, that's the kind of thing that just makes me so gratified to have played that part. Good for you. And beautiful to boot. Yes.
Question on your right.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Zach. I have a question for you. It is
I think we should just keep laughing.
I know. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Right. What is it?
So the statement actually that she made that preceded her question leads perfectly into this one, which is 2 days ago I saw a picture of an ESA astronaut. She was on the International Space Station with the Earth behind her, and she was wearing a Voyager uniform with the red command shoulders, and underneath it said, "There's coffee in that nebula." So I was just thinking, how for you as an actress that played a role on a television show in the 90s to think that there's somebody orbiting the planet right now who's there partially because of her Captain Janeway influence. And also, when you took that role, did you, or as you were playing the role, did you know that you might have that sort of influence on your life?
I could not have foreseen it, Zach. I could not have foreseen it, happily. I mean, it gave me the license then to just really get into the character. But when Mrs. Clinton invited me to the White House at the end of the first season to speak to women in science, she met me in the China room and she said, "This is the only program Chelsea and I watch together. We love it." And then I went out and faced this group of women, the greatest scientists, right, of that day. And I just threw my speech up into the air and I said, "Are you kidding? It's I who have nothing but admiration for you." So I think that the fact that I could influence women in science was probably the single greatest perk of playing Captain Janeway. Yeah, thank you for that.
Another
Yes.
question down front.
My name is Lisa, and I did watch you on Star Trek, which I was a big fan of Star Trek.
Thank you.
But for some reason, you as Red, I love you, but I hate you. And I just want to know what...
That's what they all say.
And what kind of inspiration did you have to become such a good character in a jail cell? What kind of research did you do?
I didn't do any research.
That's amazing.
But here's what happened. What's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa. At a certain point in time, at a certain stage in a woman's life, I was 57 when I got that role, you can let go of your vanity. And in the relinquishing of my vanity, I was liberated. So I could go deep. And Red resided within me. But how did I know that? Because all my life I'd been the strong one, the hero one, the pretty one, the trim one, the blah, blah, blah. This time I could be the real one, right? And I went as deep and as wide as I could. And the joy of playing her is never ending. I sing all the way to work.
It's a wonderful show.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa,
Thank you.
very much.
Question on your right.
Hello, I'm a huge Voyager fan,
Oh,
and
hi.
also of Orange is the New Black. And I just wanted to ask you, what were your favorite Voyager episodes to tape?
Oh, you can't ask that. That's like, you know, who was on the turbo lift and so we're on species 8472 came to. What comes to mind instantly is Death Wish, parts 1 and 2, where Janeway is confronted with a great moral dilemma. Q, who represents the continuum, is a proponent of eternal life, as you know, if you're a Trekker. He has a son, and the son does not wish to live forever. And so we go into court, and he lobbies for the right to suicide. And Janeway, for the first time in the series, and I think it was season 3, is confronted with her own morality, what it really means. And I elect to vote for his right to end his life. I loved that one. And I loved Counterpoint, where I actually got to fall in love. Or did I? Did I fall in love? Or did he? What happened? Anyway, I had a big kiss. Remember that one? That was heaven, because I was forever kissing weird people on the holodeck. Do you know what I mean? Kind of making them up and then looking at them. Oh, who were those people I made up? They were so short. Strange, right? And I'm having love affairs with strange, short people. And then I had that great guy on Counterpoint, a real man, yes.
Question over on your far left.
Hi, Kate. I'm
Hi.
Shakena.
Hi, Shakena.
A couple of questions about acting methods. So I was curious, after you left Stella Adler
Yeah.
program and you took, were you able to somehow go back and continue working with that program while integrating it into your,
That was
there
it.
any way, that was it?
I was off to the races.
And at that, I'm curious if you think it's possible to integrate different acting methods, into one's practice, one's acting.
Most certainly. Most
And
certainly.
Did you go and find other practices
No.
or
Stella was enough for me.
So you just weren't able to take off, and you didn't reach out and find other inspirations or study with any other teachers after that?
No, I didn't. I
Okay.
didn't. And I didn't feel the need to because I was in the field.
Right.
I'm the kind of actor who needs to act. I'm not terrific in the classroom. Do you know what I mean? Because I really just want to get up there and do it. But Estella gave me a brilliant outline, and I've never once let go of it. She was right. Lift yourself up, and with the audience, carry it to a new level. That's what I needed, and she gave it to me. So, but whatever makes you a better actor, you should do.
Mhm.
It's very different for every individual, you know?
Right, yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Question on your right.
Yeah.
Hi.
Where
Similar
are
to
you?
the-
Can you
I'm
wait?
over here.
Hi.
Similar to the other question, I was wondering, what were some of your favorite episodes to act in Orange is the New Black?
Well, episode number 2 in season 1, which explains who Red is. She's ostracized. The Russian women don't like her, do they? Do they? So what do I have to do? I have to punch her tit. And I did it. And then they charged my husband $60,000 to repair that Russian woman's tit. Remember that scene in the kitchen? It tells you everything you need to know about Red. She's vulnerable. She's a geek. She's not ever going to be a member of that clan. She's never going to be invited to that party, but she's smart. So she goes to the Russian guys, and she does business with the Russian guys. And I think when you see at the end of that episode the Russian men coming into my deep freeze, they're not putting Snickers bars in there, are they? Those are body parts, I think. So I know I'm going to be dealing with the Russian mob. I loved that episode. There are very few I haven't loved. All of season 2, the arc I had with Fee, the psychopath. Wonderful story, right? She beat me up 3 times. Always a thrill to go to work and get the... Those. Yes.
Okay, I think we have time for about 3 more.
Good.
You can be first here. In the front.
Hello, I just want to say that I love you and I love Red. And
Thank you.
what is it like working with those amazing women every day, more specifically with Taylor Schilling and Laura Prepon?
Yeah. Tay's a personal friend of mine. I played her mother on Mercy as well. I don't know if
watched
anybody
it.
saw that.
Yeah,
which
I
was
watched that episode.
In and out, that was only a season. So I knew her and I loved her. That's a great thing to have going in. Taylor Schilling is a very unusual and very gifted actress because the role of Piper is not necessarily a likable one. You got to walk a fine line. And she's dexterous. She's funny. She's smart. She has a sense of entitlement and a great sense of vulnerability. So I love playing with her, and now we're cellmates, we're bunkmates, so I love those scenes. Laura Prepon I don't have much to do with, but I will tell you, on the set, she is riveting for me to watch. She is such a pro, so composed, and she just slips with such ease into the role of Alex. I watch her in, amazement. They're great. None of them are not great. How about Uzo Aduba? Crazy Eyes. Yes. How about Tasty Delight? Right? Come on. And the old girls. It's all great. It's all great. Thank you, darling.
Okay, thank you so much.
And thank you for wearing that T-shirt.
Thank you. I work for you.
All right.
Question on your right.
Yes.
Hi, oh no, I forgot my question again.
The spaceship is arriving.
Okay. Do you feel like you've set an oh God.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Do you feel that you've set an important precedent for like young women presenting like these strong female characters in the sci-fi community? Because honestly, like Janeway became my favorite captain 10 minutes into the pilot, and
Aw, honey, you're so lovely. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And obviously, by virtue of the fact that you are emotional right now, I've had an influence, or Janeway had an influence. And that is more gratifying to me than any other thing. And as for Red, would I set her up as an example? As a moral example? Yes, she knows how to love, she knows how to survive, and she knows how to do it with excellence. But of the two, I think Janeway really cast a long, long shadow. So thank you for that very much. I think we have time for one more question.
One final spectacular question.
I actually don't have a question. I have a comment. I'm sorry. I've been listening to your audiobook and following along in the book, and
Born with Teeth?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the other book you wrote. I've cried about 87 times. But I just wanted to thank you for sharing yourself with us, because I was so inspired by everything that's happened in your life, and I thought to myself, if this woman can get out of bed in the morning and say this is the happiest you've ever been with everything that's happened in your life, like, I appreciate that so much, and it's so inspiring to me, so thank you.
Not as much as I appreciate that comment. And this is what it's all about, this. Thank you all very, very, very much. You're
Ladies
terrific.
and gentlemen, let's put it together for Kate Mulgrew.